Hello, thank you for joining me. We're going to be discussing how to utilize the web portal when you are a admin or management level for your business unit. So first thing you are going to do is log on to this website up here, stage.scoutportal.com. You're going to enter in the credentials that were sent over to you. For this case, we're going to go ahead and use the mold guy as an example. So go ahead and just put in the email address as well as the password, and then you hit sign in. So none of this has been set up yet. So this is a perfect example of what it's going to look like. I've gone ahead and just created the basic bones of the business, and then we're going to dive into key components of each of the portals. First off, we'll start down below at settings. This is where you'll be able to add new users, update and change any company information, as well as put in the terms and conditions for your receipt, as well as your report. Under email templates, this is where you'll be able to change the email templates that go out to your customers. And here will be your billing details. Now, for the purposes of the testing, we've put in a test credit card. This way you can feel free to buy as many inspector licenses needed. There will be no charges that go on at this moment. So if you need to, as you can see, this business unit, for example, there's only one license that exists. If you need to buy more licenses, you just click on this and add each additional license that you need to. Licenses pertain to inspectors only. You could add as many management and admin level users as you want for free, but to utilize the actual application, you need to have an inspector license that is purchased. The inspection credits will automatic recharge after 5 uses. You can always buy more if you feel you need to by hitting the up button here to add each additional price for that specific inspection or property credit. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start by just adding a user and walk through those. So again, go into your settings, hitting manage user, then hit add user here. We're going to use an example of Mark Levy. His email address is mark@themoldguyinc.com. His phone number here is 818-262-504948. This is important to make sure you put the correct information in here. We do have a thing on the system here that will detect if a phone number is actually accurate or not. You can upload a photo if optional, if you want to, through the portal. The first time the user logs into their app, they will actually be asked to take a picture. So you don't need to do this at this time. Role, you want to choose inspector or sub-admin. Inspector is obviously the person that's going to need a license to access the app. A sub-admin is a manager level who has the ability to put in information, add reports, kind of oversee everybody's property. The inspector is only going to be able to see exactly what the user wants them to see or what they're working on, meaning the admin is going to, anything they're going to be assigned to, they'll only be able to see the inspections and individuals that they're working on. Inspector bios, where you're going to put their information, so the different certifications that they have, anything that is related to the inspector themselves. Again, this is all editable, so this can be changed at any time. It is optional, but this bio is put into the report under the inspector section. So for here, we would write Mark is ACAC certified, right? Obviously, you put in your list of credentials here. There is a limit. You'll notice this throughout the portal. So it will tell you when there's too many, and you could always expand if you need more information or less for ease of viewing here. For the password, you will create it them yourselves, and then you can send them that information. It's up to you as to whether or not You want to use a generic one, but they can always change their password at a later date. You can view the password by clicking that button there, and this will give you the credentials of what it needs to look like. So once all that information is in, you're going to hit the save button, and this will pop up and show you that this was added successfully. So if you go back, you'll now see that Mark, the inspector level, has been created. And if you go in here, you'll see his information. Now you can edit the inspector information at any time, including the bio, photo, all that basic information. You can reset their password for them, or you can actually deactivate them. Deactivating them will block all future access to the portal and the application. They will not be able to log in until you reactivate the user. That is an option to do that. But again, this is once, let's say, somebody leaves the business or whatever it may be, you can deactivate that individual. Okay. Going into further detail into the company settings or details area, this is just basic information, name, address, social media links, which actually get put in directly into the information in the report. The terms and conditions of the report is actually what goes on the front page, just basic information. Right now we have some boiler template stuff that is being used. And so I'll just go ahead and put that information in there of what we are using today. This can be changed at any time by going into the edit company details, pasting that information in here. So let's just use an example of the scope. Okay, so this could be copied from the report that we have now, and it goes into further detail. You can bold this, underline it, whatever you prefer, doesn't matter. Same thing with the terms of the receipt. Again, this should be copied from the current terms that you have. You'll see the different sizes here, okay? And then you go ahead and save. If for whatever reason you want to delete your account, you can do so by clicking this here. It will delete it and we will be notified. I don't recommend doing that unless you don't want to use it anymore. Email templates. There's 3 of them, just based off of what is getting sent out automatically for you. So first you have the chain of custody. Then you have the main report. That's what gets sent out with your links to your different documents. And then the invoice receipt. Very self-explanatory here, guys. You go ahead and you hit edit company details, okay? And you can change anything here, okay? Anywhere you see code or you see these brackets, you're not going to be able to delete that because that actually puts key information for that email. So you can say here, let's see an example, the mold guy chain of custody dash. Okay, now this email is getting automatically sent to the laboratories. It's going to include the inspection number. It's going to include the inspection address, as well as the client information name. And that's what that code means there. Moving down to the body of the email, you can change this to whatever you would like. Again, these are the information that's going to be inputted into this particular area. You're going to hit the save button. And you can do the same exact thing for the remaining templates that you would like to change. Just hit edit company details. This is the report. Boom, enter whatever you want to do here. There is a rich text editor being implemented into this area, meaning you will be able to bold, number, all those different things. It's being added to this right now. And go ahead and save it. And same thing for the receipt. You can edit any of that information as you would like, okay? Going over to billing details, okay? You can see now that we're out of an inspector licenses because we just used it to put Mark in here. So if you were to try to add another user and just use an example here, because I'm the best, right? Great inspector. Okay, and I hit save. It's going to tell me insufficient credits, which means that we are out of the actual inspector credits that is needed. So you'll want to go back, go to billing details. You will want to hit buy more credits. So let's just go ahead and add an additional 2 licenses onto this account, hit buy. It'll automatically go ahead and process that, and then it will show the charge here. This is important because as you using this moving forward, any credits used for the inspections is going to come up here in this. So it's going to be a running list of all charges that are made on your card. Okay. And since these are monthly costs, right? Monthly cost to access, monthly cost to use it for the inspector, and then a per credit charge, there will be a list for reference point here. So now that this has been added, you can then go back and add a user as needed. Not setting up the business, let's jump into how we actually set up the templates, the actual different test options within the system as well. So starting with tests, you'll go to your tools section here. You'll see it spiral down as well. And we'll go into create our first test type. So going into add a test type. Okay, so in these particular areas, what you want to do is have an overarching type of test, right? So for example, air. And that sample information is what you want to have on the chain of custody. So for instance, in this particular case, if we want to have a relative humidity. Oh. Okay. We want to have a temperature. We want to have a volume. And we want to have a time of day. Actually, let's just leave it at that. Those are the 3 important ones. And then, oh, excuse me, and then you want to obviously have lab code. Okay. Then what are we testing for? Well, so we're testing the air for what type of sample? In this case, mold. Customer cost, 135. Okay. If there's an additional type of air sample you may run, let's say asbestos, you can add that in here now. Right? Let's say that's 125. So what we're defining here is that there are air samples that we're testing for mold. There are air samples that we're testing for asbestos. Okay. Then you're going to hit the save button, and that's going to come up as a test type. You can do this for as many different test types as you would like. Now, let's move on to adding a room. The rooms are going to come up as a pre-populated list in the application. Room names can be used as many times as you would like, so there's no limit. For instance, if you choose the room bathroom, you can use the room bathroom as many times as you would like in the application. Best to rename them to be a bit more specific, but you want to have common room types, as this is how the system's going to understand what type of test was collected, what type of room it was taken in, that automatically will spit out some generic type of protocol. So let's add a couple of basic ones that we always know are a thing. Let's do crawl space. We're going to add basement. We're going to add bathroom. Okay. We're going to add kitchen. Just to give you guys an example here. Bedroom. Garage. Awesome. Now, of course, you can edit these at any time. So let's just say we want to call it a finished basement instead of just a basement. You write that in there, you hit edit basement, and it will save it, and then it will put it again in the alphabetical order needed. You could always delete a room by hitting delete. It will ask you if you want to do so, but let's just delete it, all gone, and we can re-add it as a bathroom. Okay. Very simple. You want to put as many in here as possible. It makes it easier when the inspectors are in the field. Okay. You can always search rooms in the top right if you need to edit any or delete any. By just beginning to type in, you will see that it starts to actually show just what you're typing in. So anything with B will be there, and it will remove the rest of them. Okay, so a bit of a type ahead there as well. Once you've added in your different room types, you could then head over to protocols. Now, protocols are what the system is going to put together based off a test type and a room type that was created. So when adding a protocol, you first want to just type the room, the type of room. So let's use crawl space as example. Again, everything in here has a type ahead. So if you start typing in crawl space, it's going to load what is there, okay? Then you want to choose the test type. Let's just say mold air in this particular case, and protocol name. We can call this crawl space remediation. This is going to help you understand how to appropriately find these and then apply them to other room types. We'll see what that looks like here in a second. So just using a bit of a background here as an example, let's take a copy and paste of a protocol that may be helpful here. So you can go in and type the information here. So it's going to come up kind of similar as to how we have it here, right? So a sample was collected from, then it will list the room. The samples collected were, right? This is going to detail out the samples that were collected. So mold air would be detailed out in here, whatever other ones are applied here, and then the protocol. So under there, you can put in just basically what we do normally, right? So based on the findings, we recommend following. Outlined below is scope of work. And then you can go ahead and detail this out. Negative air, remove soil. Okay, and just keep going here, right? If you want to add bullet points, you could add. If you want to bold something, underline something, whatever it may be, all of that can be done here. Once you're done putting your basic protocol in, you want to hit the save button, and that's going to create the protocol. Now, remember what I said before. All protocols are going to be associated with a room type as well as a sample type. So if this protocol is similar to what goes on, let's say, in a basement, you can add that finished basement as well. So that means any protocols written from a finished basement with a mold air sample will come up here as well. But let's say this protocol not only applies to mold air, but also applies to asbestos air. You can add asbestos to this as well. And any mold air samples or asbestos air samples collected in the crawl space or finished basement will come up with this protocol. Of course, you can edit this protocol at any time by hitting the edit button and adding any information that you would need. And by saving that, that information will be added. You can continue to add as many protocols as you would like. There's no limit on here. Again, it's going to ask you for the name, the room type, the type of sample, the protocol name, and you do so for each room type and sample type. Moving on to the comments section. The comments section, quickly going back to protocols, my apologies. You can always search again as well in this list. With this, you can search by protocol, by room, or by sample type. So if you wanted to see anything with air, it would only show you, excuse me, sorry, it's gonna lead with mold dash air. sorry, it's going to look for specifically this here or this, right? So if you want to look for sample types for mold, you can search that. If you want to look for sample types for room, so by crawl space as well, it's going to show that. Or if you want to look for keywords within the title, remediation, right? It will start typing ahead here, okay? So search function, as you have more, there will be more to add. Okay, now adding a comment. Similarly to having list of samples and list of rooms in the application, you're going to have a list of comments there. So we want to add comments. So it's very simple, hit the add a comment button and then come up with a title. Everything does need a title. Water damage observed. And everything does need additional marks on save comment. These, of course, can be edited at any time on the edit comment. We can add another one, suspect mold growth observed on, right? You guys kind of get the idea here. You get as many titles as you want, as many comments as you want. There is no limit. And you could add as additional information in here. You can search those comments by putting in any keyword in the title and it will pop it up automatically. This is a similar functionality as what you're going to see in the application. Let's add a few more here. Okay. Excellent. So you can see these will populate as you add them in. The more, the merrier. Again, there's a type ahead functionality in the application as well. So it makes it a lot easier for the inspectors to find the information. Now going for the labs, this is going to be what is going to actually send the chain of custody or tell the system what chain of custody to send. So by clicking add a lab, we can use an example here of what we want EMSL to receive. You're going to put this in their email address. We're just going to use an example for now, contact name, their phone number. Again, some phone numbers do need to be legit. It does check. And click save. You can continue adding additional labs. Let's use another one as an example here. Now, the system automatically sends these chain of custodies directly to the laboratory. If you do not want that to happen, and you want them to be sent to a centralized email or somebody's specific email, you can put in a specific email here as well. This is a feature set to allow the laboratories to know what's coming down the pipe. It's going to allow us in the future to hopefully tie into the laboratories so that when they receive that email, they can be prepared and then actually re-upload that information automatically into Scout. I don't know Gianni's last name, so we're just going to put that. Okay. And then save. Excellent. So you'll see a running list of your different labs here. Once you've added all of your different laboratories that you utilize, you want to now apply which tests the user can utilize to send to that specific laboratory. So let's go into the EMSL laboratory. We can add sample types here. So we know there's test, right? And you could add as many different sample types we want them to analyze. So if we want them analyzing mold air, we add that. If we wanted them analyzing asbestos air, we add that as well, okay? There is no limitation. You could have EnviroBiomics as well, add those and analyze those if you wanted, or just one specific one, okay? The user will be given an option to choose which laboratory they want to send this chain of custody to based off the options that were chosen. So anytime there's an air test and asbestos run, they'll have the choice between sending that to EnviroBiomics or EMSL. As you increase the sample types, there'll be more options to do so, and you can choose what gets sent to those labs. Going back now to the lab list, you can always search here again, of course. You can add in, remove different labs if needed. Going in here, you can edit all that information, okay? Anytime you want to stop sending information to the laboratory or not use them for anything, you can remove them by clicking delete, and it will remove that. And then, of course, you can add it back at any time. Okay. Heading into the report template section, this is going to be basic boilerplate information that's going into the report. This is going to feel a lot similar to what we have now. You'll have your background. We took a lot of this from what we initially had. Background, investigation report, inspection, investigation. So it's going to include the inspection date, the inspector name. You can have a bit of a bio information here. That's going to be added as well. Let's say we want to edit any information. You hit edit report template. You come in here, you can change this template header to whatever you want. Doesn't matter the name of it. You can call it inspection information. Again, nothing can be deleted. That's in the code areas. So you can change this to you can remove all of this information. You can add bullets, numbers. Tommy John was here, whatever information you want, and click save. That information will be updated. Now, if you want to reset it, you hit the reset sample template to default. It's going to kick us back here. You can also make a default, meaning if we don't want this information as our default template, we can change this at any time. So let's say we want to edit this report and remove a moisture meter and infrared camera were used. We delete that, and we can make this our default moving forward. So anytime we edit this or change this information, and we want to reset to the default, it's going to add that information here. Okay. Moving on, again, you can change any of this information in these different areas. What you're going to notice, there is no specific area for the inspector's observations and considerations where we would put the protocols in, because that's being added to a different section of the report moving forward, which you'll see shortly. Okay. Moving on to the extra fee structure, you'll notice in the back, in the actual application, there's options to automatically have different fees. So this can be changed to whatever you want. You can have this changed to inspection fee. And that inspection fee is going to be standard $9.95. We can change this to a report fee, and that's going to be $2.50. Expedite fees, other fees, if you want to have those. Now, these can be edited, not the name, however, the cost by the inspector while in the field. You can choose whatever fees you want these to be listed as. Now, once you've gone through and set this up, which is going to take a little bit of time, you'll now be able to start utilizing the application section, as well as adding properties, as well as customers and inspections. So let's go through and use an example now. So in this part, we're going to discuss how to add a customer to the portal. So first, you're going to click the Add Customer. you're going to put in the customer details. Tom Smith, phone number 908-216-3523. Now, again, I mentioned before, this phone number needs to be legitimate. If you try and put in a fake phone number, it will not let you. Okay, it's going to tell you that that information is incorrect. Okay, let's put in a correct phone number here so we don't get that error. Okay. And click save. Oh, sorry, we're utilizing this, so we're going to use and click save. Now, once the customer has been added to the system, at this point, you could then add a property. A property is what we want to have inspection. So adding a property, putting in the property information. If it's the same, you would put 123 Way Street. This is literally where the inspection is going to be performed. So they may have a separate billing address as opposed to a inspection address. You have an option of uploading a property photo. This can be done as a screenshot through Google Maps. If not, the first time there is an inspection scheduled at a specific property, it will then upload that information automatically. The customer is obviously Tom Smith, as we just added him, and we click save. Okay. Now we can go and add an inspection for that property. We put in the date details, the appointment time. Okay, let's actually do this in the future at some point. Beware of moldy dogs. That would be scary. The customer, the property that they're linking it to. Now, this customer may have multiple properties linked to them. So you may want to choose a different property if that is the case. And then you choose your inspector. At this point, you can choose as many inspectors as you want. For this case purpose, we only have Mark in the system. So you would choose that inspector and then click save. This is what the actual inspector, the inspection looks like. You'll see the inspection number, the address up top here, any observations added, documents, transactions, which is going to be invoices and things of that nature. We'll go into detail into this once we run through what a property looks like and what the actual inspection is going to see. You can, of course, at any time, edit any information by hitting the edit inspection info, change the date, change the time, beware of moldy dogs, okay, and then click the save button. Okay, so when going back and searching customers, same info, you can search ahead. Awesome. Once a customer is in a system, you can add additional properties. So if you want to add a specific property, let's say that Tom also owns 124 Smith. Okay. At this point, you can choose which customer you want this property to be linked to and click save. So now, if you go back and go to the customer profile and go to Tom Smith, you'll see that he has 2 properties linked under his name. So now when you go into that specific property, you can see any inspections that were done there for that property as well. And then, of course, all the customer information is linked to him. You could also add just an inspection once the property or the customer has been added. So you could go in here and add a new assessment. Okay. Choose a customer. Choose a property. Choose an inspector. And hit save. So once we're again in here, we're going to see that he's got one inspection in here. And in this property, he's got another. I'll link back to Tom. Tom is right here. You can see a running list of the different properties, as well as what property, what inspections were done in this different property. So we're going to take a break here. This is set up, how to add a specific person. And if there's any questions, please let us know.